In the middle of one of the hardest seasons of my life, my daughter asked me a question that stopped me in my tracks. How do you hear God? It was maybe the hardest and easiest question I've ever been asked. Hard because how do you explain something so deeply personal? Easy because there's nothing more natural to me than the way that God speaks to my soul. But in that moment, I realized two things. I've taken for granted how I hear God, and I've never really spent time describing what it feels like, not even to myself. Her and I were both scared in this season. She was scared of what might happen and what might not happen. I was scared too, though it took me longer to admit. But in our fear, we found the sacred space to talk about the one who doesn't leave us there. And I try to describe what it means to hear God, not with your ears, but with your soul. The best way I could explain this was that hearing God isn't like the way that we hear people. It's not audible, not fleshy. It's the Holy Spirit reverberating through your whole soul in a way that feels deeply personal, like a language that's meant just for you. It happens when you're completely open in the most vulnerable ways, offering your whole self to Him, not holding back, not pretending, not hiding. It's like a tethering of souls where you let go of all of your defenses and allow yourself to connect fully with God. For me, when God speaks, it's not loud. It doesn't drown out your thoughts or demand attention. It's more like a quiet second voice in your head, the one that isn't quite your own. And you know it's Him because it carries wisdom, peace, and guidance that you just couldn't conjure on your own. Scientists might call this your subconscious or neurons firing. I name that as the Holy Spirit because even if there's logic as to how our brains process, it's God who builds that charge. I explain that to her like this. Imagine a circuit. If the circuit is closed, no energy can flow. But if it's open, completely open, then energy can move with power and surge. That's what it's like to talk to God. When we let ourselves be fully open to Him, His presence flows into us in ways that we can't explain or contain. And that's how we hear Him, not just with our thoughts, but with our whole selves, our whole being. I'm sharing this with you because I want to implore you, practice this openness with God, not just in moments of crisis, but every day. Talk to Him, not to be heard or to process what you're feeling, but for connection. Allow yourself to be fully open, even when it feels vulnerable or scary. The same God who spoke the universe into existence speaks to you too, if you're willing to listen.